Hey everybody. Alright, today's kind of a nice relaxing day. Normally not scheduled to work, but I'm going to go in and pull a shift at my pizza slinging job. So I'm a pizza delivery driver by night and a ice cream scooper by day because I'm just trying to save up money, and I'm not sure if I'm going to stay in Kalispell or move back to Denver. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to collect money. Then the second thing I'm going to do, I'm not sure, but the third thing I'm going to do is profit. So that's my plan for right now. Anyways, today it's Sunday, so I thought it'd be a good day to talk about spiritual stuff that most people don't understand. And that's particularly people that hate religion, because when I see people that say, I'm not spiritual, I'm just good, right there implies they just don't like that word at all. They don't want to use words like spirit, spiritual, anything like that. Sounds like hocus pocus, okay? Now, for some reason, this stuff is all in our language all over the place. I've been thinking it'd be fun to actually write a book about all the spiritual stuff we know that we deny, because we're constantly using expressions and sayings and terminology that imply a spiritual understanding that most people already have, just like we have a general understanding of science. The understanding is already there, so saying I'm spiritual or I'm not good, I'm spiritual, actually you might be spiritual, you're just not religious. That might be what's happening. Being spiritual usually means doing so in a knowing way, like, becoming a monk or something. It means, you're like going out and you're putting on the outfit and everything. You're going full blown spiritual now or something. Like, it seems to be a very noticeable act, but on a smaller level, like maybe you're not a very noticeably spiritual person. It just means that you're in the habit of giving and receiving love in every little way. Like, here, let me get the door. Like, saying things like, thank you very much, or saying things like, I hope you have a really great day. I hope you're doing well. Expressing care and concern. Things like, letting people know around you that they are loved, letting people know around you that somebody's looking out for them. So when you're around other people and they know they can trust you and they know they can come to you, that's what makes you spiritual, maybe, in just a really simple way. So I talk about a lot of far out stuff. Now, I went through a phase where, like, okay, when I was a little kid, I did see some weird stuff and all that. Like I was talking about in one of my older videos, the hang-on. So that's how I know there are intelligent life forms that exist as, like, a little piece of energy, I guess. I don't know. And then, like, growing up, I've been taking a Bible study and all that, so I have a little bit of Christian education. But my family's not really religious. Like, my dad actually hates religion. If I got on the subject of religion and the Bible, he'd probably start screaming and yelling about what a bad thing it is and how many people have died because of it. And so, in that way, he's right. That's where we're talking about stuff like the Inquisition. A lot of people have died in the name of Jesus. And that's where it's not, like, if there's any such thing as God, that's not something he'd want to bring upon us. That's a totally man-made problem right there. So that's where, okay, a couple of points I want to bring up is, like, terms that people don't like and what I think they really mean. So when we talk about what we know versus what we believe, we have to be honest about what we know and what we don't know. What we know is generally, let's say, general science. I have the same general science that everyone else does. I totally get science. I'm not a dum-dum. But yeah, I went from being open to religious teaching to being atheist. That's when I started thinking, no, it's just all science. There's no such thing as God. And then I built up from there because I've experienced stuff like out of body. And then since then, going to visionary state, understanding that we can communicate with beings in the other realm. So I've been experiencing stuff that tells me that there's definitely a spirit reality and there's some truth in it. It's just all stuff that's tough to explain. So there's plenty of researchers and writers out there working on stuff like astral travel, ESP, telepathy, whatever you got, all the mysterious stuff. I'm like totally a nobody in that business of sharing, this understanding. There's so many, like every time I make a video and play it back, I think my phone picks up on the language and the keywords. And then when I go into YouTube to watch a video later, boom, there's a whole bunch of different people that have made videos about the same thing I'm talking about. But of course, all their videos, they look way more articulate, educated. They have way better presentation. So, like, I'm just like a small face in the crowd, who's sharing my spiritual knowledge. But, when I make these videos, I do recognize, okay, so if you put something on YouTube, ideally anyone in the world could read it or watch it, right? So in reality, I make a video. There's like about 2 to 10 people that watch them, and they probably don't even watch them to the end, right? So I'm not really here to reach everybody in the world. The only reason I'm making videos is because there's probably just a few key people that I hope to have in my life. I hope they'll watch these videos and understand me, you know, when they don't have time to be around me. There's only a few key people who really need these videos. And if they don't get watched right away, then maybe these are good for future reference to look back on what I was saying 10 years ago, okay? So anyways, want to get back to knowledge and understanding. Okay, so I have an understanding that I like to share. Now here's another problem we run into. So I like to say, support others in prayer no matter what we believe, no matter what they believe. Support others in prayer no matter what their beliefs, okay? Now, first of all, we need to understand what prayer means. So I'm going to get back to prayer, faith and belief, what these all stand for. And so for now, we need to learn to what you call support others in prayer no matter what they believe. That means no matter what religion they are, let's say you're religious, more than likely you want to go to heaven. More than likely you want to have a good connection with God, right? And so that again comes back to whether God exists or not, whether heaven exists or not, depends on our definition of what they are. So I've done a bunch of videos explaining my definition, and that the universe could be a living system, just like you are a living system. The universe has 3 components, just like you have 3 components. Okay, and so what we call God is really the original source of all conscious presence. It could be the brains of the outfit. The universe might work like a brain. And what a brain does, so if you don't know this, as you learn and think and imagine, it grows a synapsis. So let's say we're part of a big brain. Okay, and you're a brain cell. So here's what we want to do to reach God. We want to build a synapsis with the people around us. And you do that through what we call spirit law. That's just through achieving that friendship and being able to communicate with the people that are nearest us. And then they're going to do the same thing with the people nearest them. And it's just going to go all the way around the world, okay? And so the better we do down here, the better we do going up and down. So we want to build a synapsis with the universe. So that's where, boom, what is God? It's the aspect of the universe that is conscious presence, and we participate in that. The more we know about it, the better, because now that we know we can build a synapsis, we can now take action to do that shit. And so that's stuff we want to do already, right? So even if we don't look at it like that, wouldn't it be nice if we could just be friends with the people around us? Wouldn't it be nice if everybody around us were just good to each other? So that's how we're going to put things, what we call on spirit law, just by just being able to reach out to each other and take care of each other. Very simple stuff. So what's heaven and hell? It's the best potential reality versus the worst potential reality. And so we want the best potential reality on earth. I think everybody wants that, no matter what faith they belong to, whether they have the faith or not. So that's why, again, we're going to come back to, we're going to support others in prayer, even if we think some of their thoughts are ignorant. And so we don't want to support their ignorant thoughts, like they think, you know, every time something bad happened to them, it's because the devil did it, or they think God wants us to make pot illegal, or just, you know, some people just have outrageous ideas about how stuff works. That's fine, because if you support others in prayer, no matter what they believe, and they do also build the synapses with you and God and all this good stuff, what I want to see happen is that people then have intelligence and wisdom that was not there before, rather than wishing harm on them. Like, you know, maybe it'd be nice if they would just die, so that way they would take their conversation with them to hell, you know, and get out of our face, instead of wishing bad on others, you know, which is natural to do sometimes when people are irritating. You should wish good on them, in the sense that hopefully these people will grow a synapsis already. Go grow a synapsis with God. And the way we do that, okay, this might sound Vedic or New Agey or whatever you want to call it, but I think it makes sense that we are growing a synapsis because we understand how the universe works. So there's a couple of people out there explaining, you know, if we really want to make our life better, we need to understand what natural law is and all this good stuff. So for one thing, I've been talking about natural law. Within natural law is the living universe and the void. That's where you get your duality. But within the living universe, we have the holy trinity, which are the 3 components. So anyway, so you got all this going on above and below. Now, building that synapsis is what we want to do. So what's happening is we're growing something here on earth. So we know it's been growing out of a single cell. We know it's gone through all these levels of development, that there were reptiles, there were warm-blooded animals, and now there's a neocortex-bearing animal called the human being that can have a discussion like this. So isn't it amazing that we even exist, let alone are able to discuss our existence, right? So no other animal on earth will even have to sit down and chat over our existence. Other animals are like, where's my next meal? Where's my next piece of ass? Excuse me while I lick my butt. Okay, so anyways, we are made to do what we do. And now we're at a level where we need to get it. Now we know we can build a synapsis. Now we have to actively do it. So, okay, so support others in prayer no matter what they believe. So we'll fucking grow a synapsis already. So, people keep saying unite. You need to unite because divided we fall, all this good stuff. So we don't need to form a group and give it a title and make a list of members. We don't need to do that. We're going to unite by doing what I just said. The people in your life that you talk to every day, you go to work, you have neighbors, you have family, you could be married with kids. Grow a synapsis. And that's going to improve the synapsis you have with the universe. Now, again, sounds a little bit far out, but I think it makes sense because if you understand, the earth is a living organism. The sun might actually be alive in a way to where it also has the three components of conscious, presence, spirit, and body. The galaxy, the universe. So we're connecting through those points. You know, that's where we're growing those points. And the more we do it consciously, the better, because it's already happening. That's why there's life on Earth, because all that stuff came down from the universe to the galactic center, to the sun, to the Earth, and that's why we have a blueprint. So this blueprint is unfolding so we get human life. But along the way, we're experiencing all the stuff the scientists are talking about. So we're getting evolution and development kind of mixed up with each other. The development is the process of becoming something. The evolution is the natural selection, like what works best to get this in the long run. So we're kind of being put out here too to become part of the conscious construct of being one of the brain cells in the universal brain, you know, so on and so forth. So I think these are great ideas, you know, to chew on, you know, whether I'm correct about it or not. So I've done a lot of videos already explaining God, heaven, and hell. This is just that within the living universe, there might be a good part. Like here on Earth, you know, there's parts of the world where it's nicer to live because there's better weather and stuff. And there's part of the Earth that's not so good because maybe it's too cold most of the time. And some people like that. So there's a few people that choose to live in Alaska. But most people live right where the weather's the best. If you look at Canada, they're all right down in the good part. And there's a lot less people up in the crappy part. Right? So the weather conditions here on Earth. So there's weather conditions in outer space. Like I was saying, I think within the galaxy, the weather condition might be that there's thicker energy towards the center and less energy out here. So it's kind of like they're getting, you know, a good supply of sunshine as compared to ours. So that's why life on higher planets might be a lot more pleasant. You know, you might be think you're getting closer to heaven. So it's all just relative to like how much life force energy we're getting or not. And so also like in every planet, they may experience a different reality depending on how the beings treat each other, so the type of way they apply themselves. Now, prayer, faith, and belief are three things we need to go over because prayer is in the formality when you get on your knees and you put your hand together. So people have a lot of prayer ceremonies, so that's very formal, very traditional. But prayer and magic happen on a regular basis because it's part of natural law. So when we talk about what is spirit law, that everything falls under natural law. So spirit law is natural law. It's just a branch of it. So just like physics, the laws of physics are part of natural law, but it's a branch of it that pertains to nature, to physics, than matter. Okay, when we're talking about spirit law, it's the branch of natural law that applies to the spiritual energy around us. And so what's happening is when we think and speak, we're taking impact on this energy because we're a force in nature. And so that's why we need the self-discipline of having the right thoughts and the right actions, because we have impact around us. And this is where people don't realize. People feel invisible. They feel like what they say doesn't matter, what they think doesn't matter. And you can think all you want, you can say all you want, ain't gonna do shit. Well, in a ways, it's kind of true, especially if you're dealing with someone who fucking won't listen. Okay, it doesn't matter. But it does matter in the long run. Like, it doesn't matter what people think about you unless they can do something to you. Well, yeah, it does. It's like you're cursing me over and over every time. You're like, I hate that fucking bitch. I wish she'd quit the job, or I wish she would go die. If you wish harm on me, you're cursing me. you're actually, maybe you're improving the likelihood of something bad happening to me. So that's a very questionable thing. So we're setting energy in motion, and we're bringing about consequences. So it's cause and effect. As soon as you start thinking and talking, there's going to be a process of cause and effect unfolding. That's what creating karma is cause and effect, okay? And so like on the physical and the laws of physics, if I push on this ball, it's going to roll, and gravity is going to make it stop rolling. And so the laws of spirit, if I start thinking and talking, I'm going to set energy in motion, and what we get as a result depends on what I put into it. So that's why you got to be careful what you wish for. People keep saying, be careful what you wish for, and just think positive and all this type of stuff, because we already know that what you think is going to have impact on your environment and the outcome that you get in the long run. So prayer and magic are really just like the laws of physics that pertain to the shit you say. So what you say is what you get, what you wish for is what you get, ask and you shall receive. That's all it really means, is that as we express ourselves, there's going to be either a consequence or a response. You might express yourself to another talking monkey, and they're going to respond to you somehow or another. So it's just being able to, prayers, what are we expressing at a constant rate? So you want to put out positive prayers so we have a positive outcome. Now, faith and belief are real similar. So when we say we believe, sometimes we're saying, well, I believe, but I'm not sure. The next thing, I think, but I'm not sure. Like, I believe she said it was going to be this much money. I believe that, let's say you're trying to explain the accident you had so you don't have to pay for it. Well, I believe her. Yeah. So people believe when they say they think, but they're not sure. So they don't have, solid evidence, or it's not a solid piece of knowledge, So sometimes we just mean we think, but what you really should think is belief. It's kind of like, so when it's like, it goes into your brain. This is like solid science up here. We know this is true. If it's a piece of information, it might need a piece taken out and put back in. You might just have a piece of information, but knowledge is you have a piece of information that you know is true. But what you know in your heart is feeling, like, stuff in your heart, right? So I think the matter of if God exists or not, we know it in our heart. So therefore you might believe in God because there's no physical proof. I can't really prove it to you, but I know on an intuitive level that we have stuff like God and higher reality and all that stuff. So you might know it intuitively, even though we can't physically prove it, because we'd really need to stand back and be able to look at the whole universe and be like, yeah, that's right, So the only way we can really know cosmic stuff like that is to get out of our body, and sometimes it's due to unfortunate circumstances that bring about near-death experience. Some people just, go to sleep and have a dream and they go out of their body and they don't need all the drama. But it always seems that our little brains, because we're like living technology that's under development. It's kind of like, I can't use this cell phone anymore. It's too old. So I need the new one now. Otherwise, I can't get on the network. So that's what's happening to us. We're like that cell phone upgrade. And the more upgraded we are, then we're going to be able to pick up more and more. So there's a lot of information out there we're not picking up. And the more we get that information, the more we're going to sort out all this. What's God? What's all the stuff we don't know up and above us? So beliefs is feeling from the heart, and we don't know. But another way we want to apply belief is to believe in each other. Like, I believe in you, Jody. So I need my friends to believe in me. You got to believe, for example, that I would, you might believe me because I've been telling you I've been going to spiritual experiences, like going out of body or going to visionary state. I remember Bill Lieb from when I was 6 years old. You may or may not believe me. Some people believe me and some people think that it's my imagination and I need to drop the subject, okay? So, and then whether somebody saw Sasquatch or not, do you believe them? Or do you think they're a liar and they're living in a fantasy land? So, you may or not believe somebody, but to believe in me, or to believe in your kids, you really need to believe in your kids that they're going to grow up to be strong, intelligent, good part of society. You can't keep telling your kids that they're useless. You can't keep telling your kids, that they're never going to be anything, because what you're doing is what you call positive and negative prayer. So if you're projecting your negative expectations to others, it might actually improve the likelihood, because they're going to start thinking, yeah, my dad always said I was going to be a loser. My dad always said I was worthless. So explains everything. So sometimes the stuff we tell each other, just for psychological reasons, you're telling somebody that they're bad. You're telling somebody that they're crazy. It's going to make them go bad. It's going to make them go crazy. Then you keep telling somebody they're good and stuff like that. So you believe in them. like, I believe in you, you know. And so, like, for example, like, instead of like just believing God, being like, oh, I think there's gonna, I'm not sure. So maybe you believe in God because you know He's always going to come through for you, right? So maybe you believe in the team that you love. You believe in the person that's talking. So there's also faith now. So people have faith, and it sounds like it's a bad idea again. So what we believe and have faith in can be really harmful if it's incorrect. But to have faith is just knowing that it's going to be for a good reason. Don't worry, you know. So like, to have faith in God is to have faith in life, because it is said that life is God and God is life. Okay, so you have faith, for example, that we are all here for a good reason. Okay, it wasn't just by accident, and we were not just put here to have a bad time and die. That I like to have faith that we're all here for a good reason, and that there could be a good outcome. Now I'd like people to have faith that, you know, I would always do the best thing. For example, like, just have faith in me, you know. It's kind of like believing, you know. So belief might have more to do with I believe on an intuitive level about what's right and wrong, you know. Like, it's always good to do certain things for people. I believe that is a bad thing to do for people for moral reasons. You might think for the sake of money or the sake of your own survival it's a good idea, but then maybe it's a bad idea for more reasons. So this is going to be in your heart, not necessarily science. Now, so anyway, so I just kind of want to point out some of my understanding of what's going on the other side. Is that I know, I want to be honest about what I know and what I don't know. And for the most part, I have a general understanding of science, but I'm kind of slipping onto the other side a little bit. So I'm experiencing part of reality maybe other people don't experience on a regular basis. So like, conscious presence can be experienced outside of the body and in many different forms, such as astral travel, going to visionary state, things like this. So there's a number of things that I've experienced and seen for myself where I feel that I know are true, but they're not necessarily things that belong to the general collective scientific knowledge set where, like, you know, a lot of people are going to agree with me. So that's where, you know, we're going to run into a difficult time as I explain how my visions have been unfolding. If you're going to argue with me the whole time and tell me there's no such thing, well, in my life experience there is, and this is been a part of human history all along. And so for you know, for generations, there are people out there that have been looking for psychic insight. You know, going to like, they had these, like, what do they call these people? Like the Oracle at Delphi and stuff like this, you know. So they're going to get in touch with somebody. They can kind of go outside of their body and communicate with the spirit world. So, and then like the Native Americans here, I think when we go to Vision Quest, we're stressing our body so much it puts you outside of your body. You can then communicate with the spirit world. And some people just have the unfortunate experience of near death. So a lot of people are bringing back insight and understanding about a part of reality that we can't see here in the physical reality. And so this is a really colorful topic for me, and I feel like the more we understand what's going on with spirit reality, the more we can master physical reality. So spiritual survival begets physical survival in the sense that one, you know, so we're getting that intuition, we're getting a way to actually turn it into science. That's actually probably where we are getting technology, by tapping into the Akashic records and the memory of the soul. Stuff like that might be how we're getting technology, actually. But the other thing is mastery over spiritual psychology. So the survival of the soul has a lot to do with our spiritual. So we do not let fear diminish us. So we want to have faith, not fear. So the faith is that it gives us strength, because then you become full-hearted. You can be full of love. You don't have to be afraid. Being afraid, living in fear, it kind of pinches off that energy. And so, like, let's say you're living a life where you're doing things the right way, and you're making yourself full of what we call the Holy Spirit. That just means you're like an open vessel, and this will let what we call God work through us, because that's the conduit. Now, if you're living a life where you're doing a lot of bad things that you regret, you might be filling yourself with black spots, and those are putting a kink in there, like the band called The Kinks. You don't want the kinks. You don't want to have kinking going on throughout your energetic system. So you have to do the work. So it takes a hard work and self-discipline to be full-hearted and get rid of the dark spots in your aura. And so we're going to go on to this conversation another time about this type of thing. But I really wanted to lay down some of my, if I talk about spirituality or things that are unknown, be sure to understand that I try to always remain honest about what I know and what I don't know. And I let this stuff be a flexible and fun conversation. I don't want people to come at me with insults and you need to see a shrink or anything like this, because I want it to be a fun, relaxed conversation that we learn from, but I'm going to talk about things that I consider to be uncomfortable. And so that's where, please understand, I'm working to be honest with myself and truthful about life, and I do not want to live a life where we're delusional. And then I enjoy my delusions so much I won't let them go. You know, this type of thing is, I think when you have a life where you're seeing stuff from the unknown, it's sort of a privilege because not everybody gets so. So I like to think, for example, being able to see the visionary state, even though it's old, it's still, I feel like, a nice privilege and learning opportunity that not everybody gets. So I'm trying to enjoy this, even though some parts of my story are uncomfortable and seemingly unhealthy. So again, I'm going to be back with more stories and ideas. Maybe I'll go to the story, go to the idea, back and forth. And so instead of going linear, we're going to build a broader picture. I'll talk to you soon. Have a fun day.